Well, hey, my friend. Welcome to Creatives on Fire, the go-to podcast for content creators looking to grow their audience as well as their income. I'm so excited you're here. I'm your host, Melanie Ferguson. Well, hey there. Welcome back to the podcast. This week, I am going to have my guest, Sara McDaniel, and I am super excited for people who have never met you before, Sara, to get to know you a little bit better on this episode and kind of what makes you tick and what you're most excited about these days. This is Sara McDaniel with Simply Southern Cottage. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Melanie. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. I'm excited. She is a return guest, and I'm so honored to have you here. Sara, tell us a little bit, like maybe a short version of your story, how you got to where you are now.
Gosh, it is a long story, Melanie, but I'll try to make it like super short. So, in a very quick nutshell, I walked through a horrible divorce that began in 2009. I thought my life was over. I was just ready to throw in the towel. It was just a horrible, horrible experience. But ultimately, as I was coming out of that, I decided, like, this is not going to define me. Like, I'm going to rewrite my life exactly how I want to do it. Never dreaming that I would be where I am today. And so after my divorce was final, I actually audibly heard the Lord tell me to move home to Louisiana. And I'm like, nope, I'm not moving home. Happy in Texas, where I was living at the time. I lived near the beach, not going home, but He wouldn't allow me to let it go. And so, long story short, is I found this broken down cottage in Minden, Louisiana. It was falling in. The roof was caving in. There was, red tip photinas covering the front. And I knew that it was supposed to be mine. And I had no idea how this house was going to alter the course of my life. And so it took me 22 months to convince the owners to sell it to me. It was vacant and had been in their family for about 100 years. So there's a very strong emotional attachment. So I got the house. I started social media accounts, Simply Southern Cottage, to just document the process, So my mom would click like, my sister would click like, and, the good people of Minden would follow along. But that's not what happened. And it blew up in my face. And before I knew it, I was getting magazine features. I've been on HGTV and Magnolia Network, and I have totally transitioned out of W-2 employment. And now I am a full-time content creator, real estate investor. I have short-term rentals, long-term rentals. I have a new nonprofit, and I'm also creating content every single day. So that is the short version of what has happened in my life over the last 8 years.
And it never ceases to amaze me how stunning the story is.
Oh,
I'm telling you, it is just so, we're all in awe because you are doing it. You are doing the real thing. Your story is so inspiring to so many people. In fact, there is another longer version. If anyone is interested, I will link it below. We have talked it through when you did your HGTV collaboration, which was very, very, very awesome. So, Sara, tell us about this latest nonprofit that you've put together.
oh my goodness. It's also a long story, but I'll make it short, Melanie. So, in a nutshell, I have renovated, let's see, 4 other properties on West Union Street in Minden, Louisiana. That's where my villas are. People can come stay with us. But also on this street, there was a 1920s craftsman house that was in foreclosure. And so I tried and tried for a couple years to get the house from the bank, and they weren't budging on their price. But the thing is that nobody else was getting the house either because they saw what terrible condition it was in. So after about 2 years of just sticking with the bank, they finally came down on their price and I bought the house. And so I wasn't quite sure, like, what am I going to do with it? I've got the market pretty saturated with short-term rentals. And so there, really wasn't an opportunity there for that. And the numbers really didn't work to make it a flip or a long-term rental. And then I had the idea, like, why don't I turn it into a nonprofit? And so what you also need to know is that my dad unfortunately passed away in June of 2023. He was larger than life, was a youth pastor until he died at like the age 76, 77, and just was a fixture in our area. And he just loved others so well. And so I thought, what if I got this house, I turned it into a nonprofit that would be a transitional home for women with children that graduate from Louisiana Teen Challenge, and name it after my dad, Phillips Cottage. And that's what I did.
Yay, I love that story, and you are using your recently, I would say recently, learned skills to create this for others, and that's probably the hugest blessing you could give to the community and, yourself probably.
Yeah, yeah, and that whole street where my properties are on, it really is known as a street of redemption, right? I've taken these it was literally like drug infested gangs. There were bullet holes in some of my windows, but now it's this beautiful community, and just continuing that theme of renovation and restoration of not only properties and of lives. That is the reason why behind Phillips Cottage.
And are you going what does that look like? So the women are that are coming to this cottage, what are they getting from this?
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with Louisiana Teen Challenge, it is one of the or Teen Challenge in general is one of the most successful rehabilitation facilities in the nation. Like their success rate is like 86%. And so we have an 18-month program here in Minden for women. And our facility is one of the only in the nation that accept women with children at no charge, right? And so they graduate, and a lot of these women need this like buffer of a home so that they can leave the facility, live somewhere affordably while they are, getting a job, getting their feet back on the ground. And that sort of in between housing, between rehabilitation and full independence, is what we will provide. And so right now we are frantically raising funds to try to get this house renovated and in livable condition. And the goal will be for the women and their children, our first group, to move in August. And they'll get to live there about 9 to 12 months. They will pay rent, so they will have some skin in the game, but it will be like minuscule compared to, the traditional rent rates. But they'll have an opportunity to get a job, save some money, but also live in a cozy, beautiful space while they are getting their feet back on the ground.
And so when you're doing this and you're raising the funds, I mean, are some of these contractors doing their work gratis, or is that something that is part of it? Or how does that work with a nonprofit?
Yeah, they're definitely not doing it for free. Like they have to put food on their table, right? And it takes a lot of time, but they are giving us like a pricing break. For example, there's somebody over there right now. He's working on doing all the prep work on the exterior, and typically he would upcharge for his caulk and, the primer or whatever. And he's just like, we're just paying cost for that. So, and then there's other community groups like the Webster Men of Courage have come in, and they have like cleared out our backyard. They are going to be painting the entire house, at no charge. And then there's other groups that might come in and help us paint the interior or clean up the yard or, other things that we might need doing. So it definitely is a grassroots combined effort to make this home a reality.
Yes, it reminds me of, like, something Habitat for Humanity would do.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly. Exactly.
okay. And so what is your end goal
Financial or
with
so
the whole project? Like,
yeah,
what
so
do you the results? Yeah.
yeah, we need to raise $300,000. And so we've done about 100,000 or so as of the recording of this episode. So we still have a long way to go, and it's scary, but I am just stepping out on faith. And so far, the Lord is providing the finances, but I am lining up these contractors to get this house finished by August, and we don't have the money to do it. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, we got to do some serious fundraising to make sure that this can happen and I can pay my people.
And that was my question, was the deadline too. So August of 2025.
Yes, I want to be finished by July because I still, once we're finished with construction, then I still have to stage it because my goal is that these women are going to literally move in with the clothes on their back, right? They're not going to have to buy towels and sheets and laundry detergent. And like, we're going to have that for them so they can walk straight into this house. So I need to be finished by July 1st. And then we are going to pitch this home to some magazines. So hopefully, it'll get published and that will, help us get our word out even further. But the goal is for them to move in August.
And so what about are you able to do sort of like brand partnerships on it where you can get
Yes.
free materials?
Absolutely. And so I already have one partnership lined up with Grandin Road, and you'll be seeing a complete porch refresh here coming up in April, where they will be providing all of the materials to make the porch so dreamy and so perfect. So I absolutely will be working with brands and using my platform to elevate them, but then they are helping us by providing the product for that house.
I like that. And so what about this 5K you have?
Yes. So my dad was a runner, and every single day for as long as I can remember, he got up every morning and ran 3 miles. And so he actually was going out for a run the day that he collapsed from a brain bleed. He was lacing up his shoes to go out for his usual 3-mile run. And so his birthday is April 15th. And so my plan is that every year around his birthday to do Phillips 5K, to raise money for Phillips Cottage, but also to honor that memory of him running 3 miles a day. And so this year, our very first race will be on April 12th, and it is in Minden. It will begin and end at Phillips Cottage. We have a fun run. We have a traditional 5K. If anybody wants to participate as a silent runner, we have that option too, but that's coming up on Saturday, April 12th.
How exciting. I know because I'm going to be there. I'm planning on being a part of it. Obviously, I may not be doing running
Yeah,
per
I'll probably
se,
be walking. So,
but it's going to be fun all in the same. And so I'm excited to stay at one of the villas. That'll be my first visit there. I'm going to be in Penny.
out the butterfly village, so cute.
I'm sure. I can't wait. So, for those of you who don't know, Sara also, after she renovated that initial cottage where you lived for a while, or do you still live in
I
that one?
still, I'm sitting in it
Okay.
right now. Yep,
She
I
still
will
lives.
never sell this house. Famous last words, but I'll never sell it. So,
Yes. Okay. So, after that, you also went and developed these 8, is it 8 villas?
8, yes. It was an abandoned apartment complex in our town. It was the very first apartments in Minden, Louisiana in 1931, and we also have newspaper articles that say it was the most state-of-the-art apartments in Louisiana in 1931, but for whatever reason, we still don't know, they went out of use in the '80s, and so in a nutshell, Melanie, put my life savings on the line and renovated these historic villas. And so now they are a super cute little boutique hotel off our downtown in Minden.
I think from the photos, they are to die for. So,
I can't wait for you to see. They're so
I
cute.
know, I know. So I'm looking forward to that. We're gonna have that and be a part of this Phillips 5K coming up in about a month. So I'll have to report back. But you guys, I can't tell you a better, more worthwhile cause than this initiative that Sara has going on right now. So we will put links in the show notes below where you can learn more about what you can do for your part in this. So, Sara, thank you so much for coming on again and sharing with us about this.
Yeah. Thank you, Melanie, for having me.
You're welcome. Have a good day.